Hey y'all, thanks for tuning into another video. And so let's talk about the truth about self-sabotaging. Like, can we recognize when we're doing it and what do we do to overcome it? So self-sabotaging is intentionally holding yourself back by using things like procrastination, negative self-talk, or avoiding difficult tasks to begin with because you're so afraid that something bad is going to happen if you start them. And it doesn't make sense in the logical realm because we know that if we don't start something, then we can't be successful at that thing. But in our own mental capacity, sometimes we just say, well, if I don't start it, then I don't have to deal with what happens if I can't finish it. If I just continue to tell myself that I am all of these negative things, then I won't even believe that I have the capacity to start it in the first place. Or maybe you just say, I hear that voice in the back of my head telling me to do this thing, but I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to avoid it because I don't want to feel what it feels like to endure the process of this thing. I just don't want to start it. And some reasons that we do that, there's like psychological reasons behind it, are that we really fear failure. Like we think, I can't fail. The way that I'm going to feel when I fail is much worse than the way that I feel without ever having started the thing in the first place. So if I don't do it, then I won't fail at it. And if I don't fail at it, then I won't feel like this. But what happens is we procrastinate so much and we keep that thing on our to-do list because we know that we want to do it. We know that we should do it, but we're allowing the fear to tell us that we're going to fail at it anyway. So let's just leave it on the list as a wish instead of putting it into practice with a strategy and a plan and making a goal to make that thing happen. Because then we can't say, well, I failed at this thing. We can just say, well, I never started in the first place. So clearly it's still in me to do it. The other thing is the low self-esteem. When we're doing the negative self-talk thing to tell ourselves that we aren't good enough to even start it in the first place, that comes from a place of low self-esteem. You believe the lies that people have told you in your past. You believe the comparison trap that you're not as good as these other people. You just aren't believing what God says is true about you. And when you do that, your self-esteem becomes so low that you think that you can't, even though God put all the skills, abilities, and talents and gifts in you to do them. And then the last one is you have some unresolved trauma. So if there's trauma still resting inside of you, then just like you might avoid those difficult conversations, just like you might avoid the process of healing, you're also avoiding difficult tasks as well because it is a habit that you have developed. When something is hard, you avoid it altogether. And so all of those things are the things that our brains are telling us, which are the reasons that we self-sabotage. But it's not true that failure is always imminent. What's true is you're going to succeed at some things and you're going to make mistakes at other things. And that's part of the process of anything that you're doing. It's part of the process of enduring. And so building perseverance will really help us to say, even if I take 2 steps back, I already took 3 steps ahead. And so I'm at least 1 step further than I was before I started. And those psychological pieces of us that just say we aren't good enough are telling us that we should continue to just revel in the self-talk and negative self-talk and live there because that's who we are. And it's just not trusting and believing what God says. And so that having those unresolved traumas, having the negative self-talk and the low self-esteem, and just believing that that fear is true, that failure is imminent, are all ways that we can recognize that we're doing this thing called self-sabotaging. We all have different patterns. We have different patterns for everything, but those patterns will become very obvious to you if you're looking for them. Very similar to the way that if you like a certain car, when you say, I really like this car, and you start to research the car and you want to buy the car, you start to see more of them. It's not because more of them hit the streets. It's because you are focusing on that thing. So if you start to focus on those self-sabotaging behaviors, you'll start to see your own routines. You'll start to see that you do this certain thing every time you get an idea and every time you want to start something. That routine may look like creating list after list after list, but never checking off the things on the list because to you, creating the list feels like you're doing something, but you're not enacting a plan. So pay attention to that. Be very self-aware of your self-sabotaging behaviors. If you get an idea or a new task on your plate that you get really excited about, but then all of a sudden you start to sit in the lies of the enemy, start to recognize that that's what you're doing. And oftentimes, if you tell yourself some truths, then you'll stop believing all of those negative things that you're telling yourself. If you create those affirmations and continue to preach them to yourself, those will be the things that you go to first before the negative self-talk. And another thing that you might do is avoid success altogether. So that might be your pattern where you say, well, I don't even want to be successful because I don't even want to get to a place where I have to do the thing that determines whether I'm successful or not. So I don't care about being successful. I'm just going to stay midline, status quo, do what I've always done, and avoid those successes too. And that could be a pattern that you develop. Oftentimes people will distract themselves, and that's a pattern that you could develop. Notice your patterns, become very self-aware of what you do when you get a bright idea or you have this thing that you know you want to do, whether it's to get a certification, get a degree, buy a house, whatever it is. When you get in the weeds of the things that you need to do, fix, or be to become that, what do you do? What is your pattern? And once you're able to pull that out, we start to talk about how we can break free from those. So if you're the type of person who's creating that list and you're just not checking things off of the list, that is not a goal, it's a wish. And once you take that wish and you make it a goal by thinking about strategies, by adding timelines to the goal, it will be a goal then, because you'll say, by this point in time, I'm going to do this. And if you're one of those people who fears the failure, which is why you've self-sabotaged in the first place, break it up into tiny, small increments, because when you do that, you'll be able to say, okay, I did this thing. That's one step forward. Now I need to do this thing. That's one step forward. Maybe this thing presents a barrier to me, so it's 2 steps back, but I'm not going to go back to the beginning. I'm going to go back to the pieces of this, break it into its steps, and do those steps. You might need to make a more detailed and more specific to-do list in order to make that happen, but that to-do list will help you to make it a goal instead of this wish that you just have for the future. Another thing is just start. Oftentimes when I do my workouts, I use the Beachbody app. It's amazing. And very, very often in all of the trainers' workouts, they say things like, well, you pushed play, and that's the first start. That's the place to start. That's one step further than sitting there and not doing it. And I can tell you that for me, once I push play, I'm going to do the workout. Now, it might be a crap workout. It might not be the best one, but the workout is going to get completed if I push play. Whether it's my best workout or one of the ones that I wouldn't write home to mom about, it still is a completed workout because I press play. Your goals and visions for the future will not start themselves. You have to press play. You have to just start. Whatever that small thing is that you need to do, you have to do that thing. If you want to start a podcast, go buy yourself a microphone. If that's too expensive and you don't have the money to do that, just take out your phone and record about something that's important to you. You will start to feel more comfortable with the recording, and then you'll tell yourself when you need to record and what you need to record, and then you'll have a whole slew of content that you could just post tomorrow if you wanted to. And then you get to the posting part, right? You have to press start. The other thing is allow yourself to do your best. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't get frustrated if it doesn't work out, because your best is your best. Like, you could apply for a job and do your very best in the interview, but somebody has a vision for who they've already chosen for that job. It doesn't mean that you're any less qualified. It just means that they already knew they were going to pick this other person before you stepped in the room. So you did your best. Allow your best to be your best. Instead of saying, well, that end result didn't happen, that outcome didn't happen, so something must be wrong with me. No, I did my best. This is what happened as a result of it. Now I'm going to create a new to-do list from where I am right now to get to where I want to be. And then lastly, give yourself space to make mistakes and understand that mistakes are not failures. Mistakes are the learning tools that you use to get to the next phase of this. So if you say, I'm going to go into this and I'm going to make mistakes, You've already resonated that some mistakes are going to happen. That's part of the human experience. But you're allowing yourself to understand that if mistakes are part of the process, they're built into the process. So they don't instantly create a failure. And if you give yourself the space to feel that and see that, then what'll happen is when you make a mistake, you'll have already written it into the plan. Okay, there's a mistake. I knew that was going to happen, but it's not a failure because I still have more things to accomplish to get to this goal. So if you're in a space today where you're self-sabotaging, where you're doing that negative self-talk thing, you're afraid to start the thing because you don't want to fail at it, and you're avoiding those difficult tasks because that's what you've always learned to do, I encourage you to write down your goal, write down some strategies, write down some plans, write down a daily task list to get that plan in action and start it. Not tomorrow, but today, because your future depends on it and you deserve a life that is full of you enacting all of the gifts that God has given you. If this message resonated with you, remember to share, go to all of my pages, follow me there, like and subscribe to this content, because knowledge gained and kept to yourself is selfish, but knowledge gained and shared with the world may just be the catalyst that they need to break free from the bondage that they're experiencing. So go out and share some information that may possibly help somebody to break free. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you again next time.